Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thank you guys for joining the 9 Innings podcast hosted by yours truly, Kevin Thompson, founder and CEO of 9 Innings Capital Group. Thank you guys for your patronage. Thank you guys for subscribing to the channel here at 9 Innings Capital Group on YouTube. Thank you guys for buying the book, MLB to CFP. Thank you guys for also joining us on the new Apple iTunes podcast, 9 Innings Capital Group audio version. You have the ability to listen to those as well. If you want to hear my voice, some of you may or may not want to, and that's okay. So go ahead and subscribe to that and give us some reviews. We'd definitely love to have that. We appreciate that. So today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about our latest blog piece on our website, www.9inningscapitalgroup.com. Go to our website and check out our blog series. And today's blog series is going to help you understand our philosophy on what's currently going on in the current markets, which in regards to housing prices, sellers versus buyers, and the cash guys coming in and just buying up properties. But if you're not a cash guy, you're the guy that doesn't have to finance, which again, most of us are. You have to realize, well, should I go 15 years? Should I go 30 years? Well, that's what we're here to answer today, is which one you should do, which one is right for you, 15 year versus 30 year. Let's get it. So as housing prices soar, and of course you can see it in my blog, and we're going to kind of go here right now. So as housing prices soar, sellers are in a great position in this current juncture, right? Housing prices going up, low supply, high input cost, all on the blog here. So you have to ask yourself some questions. The questions you have to ask yourself are, the first, how long are you going to live in that home? The second, should I pay off my home sooner? And then, of course, we're going to go over the 15-year versus the 30-year. Again, this is all in my blog here on the www.9inningscapitalgroup.com. So go ahead and check it out there. But today we're going to go through it a little visually so you guys can actually see what we're talking about. So why is it important to figure out how long we're going to live in a home? Well, typically there's this thing called a break even in regards to interest. Now, if you're not a cash buyer, which again, most of us are not, but if you're not a cash buyer, you're going to say, well, 15 year versus 30 year. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab one. Well, that's fine, but you have to figure out, well, what's my break even on this? When am I actually going to be done with all the interest and all of that in regards to, hey, I have finished this off and now my payments that I'm putting in are all going to X, and I'm really knocking this mortgage down, and PMI and all the other things may be off as well, depending if you go down 20%, who knows, but just all that stuff matters. So the reason I'm saying it matters because the length of time is because most people don't live in their houses for 15 or 30 years. If you look at different regions of the United States, the Northeast typically own their homes much longer than people do in the West and the South. On average, the people in Texas typically own their homes between 8 to 10 years. On the West, the same, about 8 to 10 years. In the South, Florida, 8 to 10 years. But in the Northeast, it's 15 to 20 years, somewhere between that. So you have to understand, what is your break even in regards to, hey, how long am I just going to live in this house? Am I going to live in this house for 5 or 6 years? Then maybe I don't care. I don't want to put a bunch of money down on this thing. I don't want to put a bunch of money into this thing. I'm not going to live here that long. Do I want to just go ahead and I'm going to live here for 30 years? Well, if that's the case, I'm going to pay it off as soon as I can. Perfect. That's fine. But there's numbers around all of these things. There's math around all of this. So it's very important to understand your duration and time of how long you're going to live at that residence. So that's part one. Part two, should you pay off your home sooner? That's a great question. My philosophy is it depends on your current financial situation. If you have questions on your current financial situation, you want to give us some information on that, contact 9 Innings Capital Group at 9innings@9icapgroup.com. send us an email, send us some questions. We'll get your questions answered. Maybe we'll set up an appointment. Go to our Facebook. We can set up an appointment there as well. However, paying off your home sooner has its benefits, but also has its consequences. When you pay off your home sooner, that's money you no longer have access to from a flexibility standpoint. So let's just say hypothetically it's $10,000 a year you're putting additional into your home. That's money you no longer have access to. What if I told you that if you had that same $10,000 throughout the entire year, and then you can make that decision at the end of the year, does that make sense? I would say yes. I would say yes. It does make sense. It does make sense. There you go. So, having that money as liquidity as long as you possibly can makes more sense than actually putting that money into your home and losing accessibility to it. What do we know what we can do with liquidity? The more liquidity we have, we can do what? Reduce our insurance cost. Raise our elimination periods on our disability policies. Raise our deductibles on our insurance policies. Cut down our insurance costs in regards to all of our medical and things like that. We can bring down a lot of costs that we're currently incurring based on that. Oh, on top of that, what if there's an opportunity? Maybe we can buy more real estate. Maybe there's a business opportunity. You have the liquidity to make those decisions versus, oh, I'm sorry, all of my money's in my home. Let me go ahead and get a cash out refi or get a home equity loan or something like that. No. You can put that money into your house whenever you want to. It's just better to have that liquidity so you have that, you can make that decision at a point certain in the future. So, part 2, like we just mentioned, should you pay off your home sooner? It all depends on your current situation. But our philosophy here at 90 Innings Capital Group is no. Why? Liquidity is king. Doing other things with that money is key, because here's the question. If you can take that money, invest that money, if you're getting a 3% interest rate and you can invest that money at 4, 5, or 6, you're using other people's money to make you money. It's more efficient. It's what businesses do. It's what corporations do. It's what any good business person would do by borrowing money at a low interest rate and using those dollars at a higher interest rate, a higher rate of return. It's beautiful. It's big. It's good business. So, our philosophy is you can, but we advise against it because we always want to make sure we have enough liquidity for emergencies, to make sure we keep our debts low, and ultimately we can use that money from a flexibility standpoint to keep all of our insurance costs down and to make moves when necessary. So part 3 is where we're going to spend a lot of our time today. The 15-year versus the 30-year. Our opinion. This is an opinion, but our opinion is we like to borrow for as long as we can and for as low as we can. Anything under 5% interest rate, we're good with that. Why is that? Because we know we can get something higher than a 4, 5, or 6% interest rate. If we're borrowing for 4 or 5 or 3, and we're getting higher than that, we're winning. So the same conversation happens here. So the philosophy around this is this. Say you have a 15-year mortgage and you're paying, and this is in my blog, you're paying, matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull the blog up. Let's pull the blog up so we can read along with it. So as you can see here, we have a 15-year mortgage based on thebankrate.com and on a $300,000 home. Right now, that rate's 2.44%. So our payment right now is $1,992. So let's just say the same mortgage on a 30-year note is 3.18%. It drops our payment to $1,294. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, over the lifespan of these loans, that's almost $100,000 difference in additional payments. That's savings right there. That's proof that we need to do a 15-year mortgage. Okay, sure, but you're wrong. And here's why. Because the 30-year note, if I can save that $698 monthly, let me show you what that can do. Let me show you what that can do. I know the numbers are stated here, but I want to show you what these numbers can do. So let's just say hypothetically it's $698 a month times 12. That's $8,376. The number's going to be a little bit different in the actual blog because the blog is monthly. This is annualized. And say I get 5%. And say I do it over a 15-year period. That's $189,000. Now, I hear what you're saying. Well, Kevin, it's not really $189,000 because you have capital gains. I get that. So let's just say $125,000 is your capital investment, and the other $60,000 is capital gains. Okay? So we have $189,000 here that we have access to. We lowered guess what we did? We lowered our insurance costs throughout the entire time because we had a bunch of liquidity there. Guess what? We covered our emergency spending just in case something happened at the house over the last 15 years. Guess what else we did? We had the ability to be very, very flexible. And the most important concept of this all is we have $189,000 here minus some capital gains, but we have $189,000 here to do what with? To pay off our home if we want to. By the way, this $189,000, guess what else we can do with it? We can buy additional real estate. We can be very flexible. If the money's in our home, guess what? We have to borrow against our home. But with this, we don't have to borrow against anything. It's already here. We have accessibility to it. We kept our debt costs down, our debt burdens down. This money's not stuck in an asset we can't get to. Guess what? If I want to get this $189,000, guess what I have to do? Just have to sell. It's T+2 at this current time. That's trade date +2 from a regulatory perspective. But guess what I had to do if it's in my house? A lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork. You can't get it that quickly. That's the point I'm trying to make here today. It's important to understand that the 15 versus 30 year is a preference. It's an emotional decision, but there's math behind it. There's math behind it. Oh, Kevin, what about the interest I've paid over the last 15 years? I could have gotten rid of that a long time ago. Sure. But you wouldn't have accessibility to these assets. You can get rid of it now if you want to. This is our conversation. This is our philosophy on the 15-year. We like to borrow for very, very low interest rates for as long as we can. And pay those off minimally as we can. Yeah, there's interest, but the effectiveness, the efficiency of the dollars that you're using for business perspective, the efficiency of those dollars that you're using for investment will outweigh the interest because what? You are making more money on their money. You're getting higher rate of return than that 2 or 3% interest that you're paying on your mortgage. So the number one rule in business is this: you borrow for less than you can invest. You borrow for less than you can invest. If I can borrow, and I just made that up, by the way. So I coined that phrase here at 98's Capital Group, Kevin Thompson. That's my phrase. I'm going to go ahead and trademark that. But with that being said, if I can borrow for 2% and make 3, that's a 3, or make 5, that's a 3% spread. That's how we do business here. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, contact 9innings at 9icapgroup.com via email. Or you can go to our Facebook page at 9innings Capital Group. Send us a message via Facebook. We'll get back with you there. Also, go to the website and check out our blogs at www.9inningscapitalgroup.com. Stay on our YouTube channel here and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at the 9innings Capital Group. Also, you have access to us through the iTunes, Apple Podcasts via the 9innings Capital Group station. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate your loyalty. Thank you for all of what you guys are doing. We appreciate it. We love it. And again, we're here to do what? Educate, empower, and engage. And that's what we're trying to do. So thank you guys for your loyalty. Stay humble and stay safe.